I'm preparing to demonstrate our most popular product and what makes it different from everybody else's. It's called the Ideal Brisket. I believe it's important to preserve the moisture of the meat in general. One of the things that makes our brisket different than most people's is after they've been smoked for an appropriate amount of time, we wrap them up so the juices are trapped inside the foil and they're not allowed to just drain off the brisket and get really dry. So I think that's part of the key to what people like so much about our brisket.
Makes sense. So what is this thing? This is a whole brisket? What do you call it?
This is a whole brisket. Of course, we smoke the whole brisket, and which has two parts of meat. It's got a point, it's got a flat.
What's what?
I'm going to show you as I'm undoing it.
All right.
But what we're doing today is what we call the Ideal Brisket, and there's three components that make this the Ideal Brisket. The first component is that it's got to be a blend of the point and the flat. A lot of places will cut all the flats off the briskets and save those to make sliced brisket, and then use all the points, which is the fattier end of the brisket, to make chopped brisket. But with the Ideal Brisket, you got to use both. You got to use both parts of the brisket. It needs to be an even blend. The second key to the Ideal Brisket is that the inches or the strands of brisket need to be between 1 and 2 inches long. And then the final component is it needs to be chopped with a cleaver. A lot of people will use buffalo choppers. They'll save a lot of the fat on the brisket, throw it into a buffalo chopper and chop it up. Maybe even over chop it, make a paste out of it, or almost like a ground beef.
Yuck.
Yeah, there we go. Got our cleaver.
Boom.
Good to go. Alright, so the first step in the brisket process, we really need a trash can. Another one of the keys to our brisket is that we take all the fat off. And our cooking process turns the fat into more of a gelatinous type of a material, and it'll scrape right off the top.
Awesome.
So we're going to trim this brisket down.
So what you're saying is you're not just selling people fat that they're not going to eat anyway.
That's right. A lot of places will just slice right through the fat on top of the brisket. There's a fat layer between these grains of brisket, and they'll just cut right through it and chop it all up. That's why a lot of times when you order brisket at places, it's very fatty. We've made our name on serving a very lean meat. So we're going to take all this fat off of here.
Look at that.
If you're the kind of person that likes fat, we can always save some of this and put it right on top of your plate. We're not going to charge you for the weight of that. If you order a half pound of brisket, you're going to get a half pound of meat without the fat.
Awesome. That's how it should be. Just like falls apart, doesn't it?
Yep. That fat will drag right off of there. You barely even have to dig the blade of the knife into the meat. Very little waste this way. Alright, now what you can see here are the two different grains of brisket. This is the flat. It's very lean. All by itself, it's almost too lean. But there's a little separation point here, and that's the bit of fat that separates the grains of meat, which you can drag the knife right through there. It's so soft, you don't even have to cut. The knife will find its way through.
Ah.
This is our flat. So we're going to continue to take the fat off of this.
Crazy. So about how much weight of the whole thing is fat that you're throwing out right now?
Well, what we yield out of our brisket after it's cooked and after we take the fat out, we get anywhere between 55 to 50% yield. So.
Wow, so it's like half fat.
Right.
Crazy.
make sure we get rid of this little vein. There's a little vein in all those briskets. Nobody wants to eat that. There's nobody I know, so that comes out. And then we're gonna cut this against the grain. And this is where we get our strands of brisket that are between 1 and 2 inches long. If it's too long and you chop it up, you might pull out a grain, you might pull out pieces of brisket that long on your sandwich, and that's no fun either.
Yeah.
So we're going to cut this down to the appropriate size. I'm going to stack that. Move it over. Now we're going to take, this is the point. This is the part of the brisket most people make chopped brisket out of. And again, if you chop up only the point, it'll be a little too fatty, a little too moist. It'll be kind of pasty. I'm gonna get that fat out of there.
You really don't have to cut it at all. It's crazy.
Drags right off. Same thing with this. We're going to cut it against the grain to make sure none of those strands of meat are any longer than 2 inches. I'm going to stack these. Put that on top. Now what we're going to have is a nice even blend of the flat and the point. And the final component of the ideal brisket that needs to be chopped with a cleaver. Again, if you run this through a buffalo chopper, it'll turn into a paste. It'll be chopped up too much. I mean, you could run it through a little bit less, but you're not going to get quite the same consistency. The other thing that's going to happen is when we chop this up, the meat is going to hold together a little bit so that it stays fresh. But this is why we process brisket. Usually we process whole briskets at a time instead of just sandwiches to order, just dinners to order, because you really need the blend of the point and the flat to get it to be ideal. So now we've got our 2 grains of meat here ready to go.
Yeah. He's not messing around.
And that's all there is to it. Don't want to chop it up too much. We're going to leave it fits together as much as we can. And then in the service, we'll pull it out, mix it together a little bit better, and plate it so that it's not in chunks on the plate. But that's the end of the process right there. You've got what we call the ideal brisket. That's what sets us apart from everybody else.
Woo! Now you guys got